Corellis strikes first at the Valley. It's the dawning of a new era at the Track of Champions. This week's White Flag segment takes us to a driver who's coming back from injury. The first race jitters are gone. Let's keep the momentum rolling as Race Pro Weekly starts right now. Welcome to another edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. Let's take a look at what we have on this week's show. We'll start off by taking a look at some of the opening night racing from the Fonda Speedway, then head down to Lebanon Valley and Orange County. We also have New Egypt on the card for this show, and then finish up with our White Flag and NISCA Performer of the Week. During the offseason, it was announced that Matt DiLorenzo would be taking the promoting reins from Rick Lucia at the Fonda Speedway, and they finally got their opening night ready to go after canceling the ice jam that was set for April 5th. Matt DiLorenzo getting his start as the promoter of the Fonda Speedway, and for the modified feature, it would be Ronnie Johnson and Bobby Varen leading the field to the green as they went up into turn number 1 and 2 to start the 2014 season. Few invaders coming in this race. You see Rich Galata on his way up through the field, Danny Varen as well, but in the early going, it'd be all Ronnie Johnson, the 2RJ machine. Few more invaders. You see the Gypsum Express 91 of Billy Decker and also the 9H of Matt Shepard in that new HBR ride making their way to the front as well. Danny Varen would be towards the front of the field here in the early going as he would continue to set a torrid pace, and then Ronnie Johnson would get into a tough wreck in turn number 1 that put a lot of damage on the cars. Now you'll see the track crews getting Johnson out of the car. He will be okay, but for the car, I cannot say quite the same thing. On the restart, it would be the Varens at the front of the field. The father-son battle as Danny and Bobby battle for the number 1 position, and it would be the T-Rex Express taking the lead away as they head down to the back straightaway. Car on the move would be the 9H of Matt Shepard, however, as he tried to make an outside bid on the 1J of Varen, and now as they went down the back straightaway, he would make it into turn number 3. He'd take the number 2 spot away as they went down through the Golden Arches in turn number 3 and 4. Shepard wouldn't be done, however, as on the last lap, Shepard would power to the outside lane, down the back straightaway, give Danny Varen a run for his money, and go flat-footed through turn number 3 and 4, and coming off the corner, Matt Shepard would have the momentum, and that would be all he needed, as Matt Shepard picks up win number 1 at the Fonda Speedway.
I was able to get through that little hole in the top of 1 and get a good run off of 2. And, you know, I thought if I could get next to him getting into 3 and had that top, I'd be all right. And, you know, we both running in there wide open, and, you know, I just had the preferred groove, and luckily the thing stuck, and I was able to beat him off of 4.
Matt Shepard picking up his second career win at the Fonda Speedway. Danny Varen would finish in second, Bobby Varen finishing third, Pat Ward fourth, and Jeremy Wilder rounding out your top 5. For 61 straight years, Howard Commander has been at the helm of the Lebanon Valley Speedway, bringing you big block modifieds going at high speeds, and the 62nd one would be no different as we head to the main event of the evening, the big block modified feature event. The Ground Pounders, the DIRTcar Big Block Modifieds, would be the main event on the card at the Lebanon Valley Speedway as Lauren Bro would lead the field of the green along with Donnie Corellis. A lot of the heavy hitters would be starting towards the front of the field as Andy McKetty, J.R. Hefner, and Eddie Marshall did very well in their draw spot by virtue of the heat race, and of course, you cannot count out the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn coming up from the field from the 11th starting position. Early caution in the race for the 42 of Matt Papello would sideline him with some right front damage, as on the restart, Donnie Corellis would now have his best shot against the 10 of Bro, and he would slip underneath him, and now he would take the race lead on about lap 10 as he would go to the front of the field. Cars jockeying for position as Hearn, Marshall, and McKetty along with Colby Schroeder fight for position down the back straightaway as well. A caution would plague both the 97 of Bobby Hackle and the 55 of the Kingfish, Mike King. That would both end their night, and that wouldn't be the end of the night, as there would be some issues coming also as you see Hefner try to go to the inside of Bro, but Andy McKetty would also have engine trouble that would end his night as well. At the front, though, it was all Donnie Corellis, as Corellis sent a charge through the field to pick up the win on opening night.
Yeah, everything's clicking with it right now. The motor felt strong, the cars felt really good, so I mean, I think as the track gets better, we're going to get better.
Talk about that restart when you got by Bro.
Not only just time to ride. He's very fast, and every one I just was getting a little better with him, and I was trying to be patient and watch him, but JR and them guys were behind me hot and heavy, so I had to start getting more aggressive with it, and it worked out, and never had to look back.
Donnie Corrales sends an early charge into the modified field by picking up the win. J.R. Hefner finishing second, Brett Hearn coming from 11th to finish third, Lauren Breaux finishing fourth, and Colby Schroeder rounding out your top five. It's now time for this week's fan poll question, and it is, who do you think will win the opening night modified feature at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway? Log on to Facebook or Twitter on Race Pro Weekly to cast your answer, and they will be read on next week's show. It's now time to take a look at some of the answers from last week's Facebook and Twitter fan poll question. When do you feel is the right time to start the local racing season? We have Terry Pierce, who says, I don't think it should ever end. Zach Albertine, weekly racing should be mid-May to mid-September. Michael Sessler, the first or second week of May. And Gavin Seeley, who says April 1st.
The action, the battles, the excitement. Get ready for 800 horsepower of ground-shaking racing. The Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds are coming to your town. Be there to witness the mighty Big Blocks.
The Big Block Modifieds are returning to Fonda Speedway to the High Bank Holdup. Be there to witness the Big Blocks battle the 3/8 mile high banks and witness the first Super Dirt Car Series event of 2014. Saturday, April 26th, Fulton Speedway, County Road 57, Fulton.
Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products, race to win. Taking a look at some tidbits from this past weekend with Donnie Corrales' win at the Lebanon Valley Speedway on opening night. He stopped a 3-race opening night win streak for the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn. Only 2 drivers have done that feat at the Lebanon Valley Speedway, the other being Stretch Van Steenberg. Brett Hearn would have been the first one to win 4 in a row if he had got it done this past Saturday. This weekend will mark the opening night for the Canandaigua Motorsports Park in the Jan Corcoran Memorial, and there is some big news on the horizon as it was announced via Twitter that Justin Ayers will be fielding a second car this Saturday night, driven by none other than Tim McCready. Practice at Albany-Saratoga took place this past Sunday. As you see Ronnie and Mike Mensing getting around in the tow truck. The Ravina rocket Keith Flack would be out there for the modified division, turning some fast laps as he gets ready for the season. Robbie Speed, who will be making his home on Friday nights at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway, battling with defending Pro Stock champion Rob Yetman in Lazaro's Auto Body car. Then there was Matt DiLorenzo in the Recovery Sports Girl car, getting a little help, if you will, from Rocky Warner, that West End Towing 79 that will also make his home at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway this year. A few street stocks on hand as well, as you see Nathan DeHoda on the outside lane making his laps as they get ready for the Friday night opener. Flagger getting a little frenzied here before we get started with the modified feature event that John Lito and Jerry Higbee would take the green for in the 30-lap event down on the 5/8 mile on the hard clay. Leading him up into turn number 1 and 2 would be Higbee, but it'd be John Lito that would take the race lead. And the car on the move for the second straight week down on the hard clay would be Tim Hindley as he moved into the number 2 spot by getting by Jerry Higbee. Then Hindley would look to go to work, but first the caution would slow the field as Craig Mitchell would go down with a flat tire. On the restart, Hindley would have to chase down John Lito as they continue to make their way up into turn number 1 and 2, and then Hindley would make a bid to the inside lane. He would get by Lito in turn number 3 by muscling him away, looking to keep his momentum going after last week in the hard clay open. Hindley would be out towards the front. A couple of cars trying to catch him towards the end of this one. As you'll see here, it's going to be Chuck McKee trying to make a move, as also Clinton Mills was in there as well, but there was no touching Hindley, as Hindley goes to win feature number 1 at Orange County.
Cool, on these heads-up night, all the fast guys are up front. I'm just happy to be here. I can't thank my guys enough, the car owner, my wife, sorry she couldn't be here, Landscape Innovators. It's just great, man. I didn't want this ride to end. This thing's a great car. You never want to lose a race car. We lost one last September there. They brought us out Eastern States. It was good Eastern States. Obviously, hopefully we got something this year.
In the modifieds at Orange County, it would be Tim Hindley picking up the win, John Lito finishing second, Jerry Higbee third, Clinton Mills fourth, and Chuck McKee rounding out the top 5. In the small block modifieds, Tommy Meyer would pick up the win, Craig Mitchell finishing in second, Bob McGann in third, Brian Crummell fourth, and Danny Creighton rounding out the top 5. Ryan Crummell going back-to-back in the Sportsman, and Ray Tarantino picking up the win in the Street Stock. Fans at New Egypt playing a little hockey before the modified feature, as Tim Apgar and Willie Osmond would bring the field to the green as they got started in their 30-lap modified feature event. Billy Pouch making his way up to the field, looking to go back-to-back at the New Egypt Speedway. DJ Rupert would spin in turn number 4, which would collect a lot of cars, causing a caution 8 laps into the race. Now, on the ensuing restart, Osmond would fire a little too early, giving him a 2-car penalty, which means Billy Pouch, with this pass on the outside lane, would officially take the lead in the number 1 machine. Now, he would go right behind the 81 of Osmond to try to get by him, and then he'd work it up to the outside, and he would have no problem getting by him to take the lead here once again, as Pouch well on his way to win number 2, and he would do it for his 8th career small block win at New Egypt. Billy Pouch goes back-to-back, picking up the victory. Finishing in second would be David Van Horn. Third, the Ringo's Rocket Ryan Godown. Fourth, Billy Pouch Jr. And Willie Osmond, by virtue of the penalty, delegated back to 5th. Other winners on the night at New Egypt would be Bob Lineman Jr. in the Sportsman, Tim Tanner Jr. in the NERS 305 Sprint Cars, and in the Rookie Sportsman, it would be Derek Crum.
Here, we're doing 4 questions with Kenny Martin. Kenny, I'm going to ask you 4 questions.
Is this NASCAR?
No. Can you guess why the 4 questions?
4
why
questions?
number 4?
No, why?
Ah, you know why.
0.
All right, first question.
Yes.
Who inspires you?
My wife. She's my little heart and soul, and keeps me digging and keeps going and makes my day every day.
If you could change one thing about your division, the Pro Stock division, what would it be?
I'd like more wins. Longer races. Longer races.
Okay. What's more important to you, setup or motor?
Setup. Definitely setup. Sometimes you can get around a motor that's lazy. If you're really smooth about these cars, that's where you make up a lot more than motor.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self some advice, what would it be?
Buy a boat instead of a car? No, I don't think I could do that. I wouldn't want to alter the way I was growing up and what I did and what I've accomplished and stuff. I don't think I would really want to change or alter that in any way.
It's now time for our DMC Racing Products Driver Spotlight with small block modified competitor Ryan Darcy.
Race Pro Weekly is brought to you by Racing Electronics, your #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Rainmaker Productions, co-promoters of the Lou Lazzaro Memorial Race at Fonda Speedway on May 24th. Sheldon Oil Services, recycling for your future. And by Pilot Graphic Designs, signs, banners, decals, and so much more. Give Dan a call today at 315-539-3484.
It's not something you choose, it chooses you. It's something you're born with. It's a passion that consumes you. Being an outlaw is not for the weak. being an outlaw is in your blood. Only an outlaw can survive a grueling 90-race schedule. 40,000 miles on the road, going from track to track. It's not about being posse or all-star. It's about being an outlaw. Only the best can call themselves outlaws. I'm Darren Pittman, World of Outlaws STP sprint car driver, and I'm an outlaw.
There's only one place in the capital region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there. The Lebanon Valley Pro Stock's going to get their first race of the 2014 season underway, as leading them to the flag would be the 324 of Jason Casey and the 24 of Robbie Speed as they took the green. Casey would take the early lead in this one, pulling away from the Mellonville Missile. A few cars on the move as well. The 76 of Kevin Arnold in there, along with the 322 of Jay Casey as well, trying to make their way towards the front. What a battle for the lead was as Robbie Speed tries to go underneath the 324 of Jason Casey. Speed tried to make it work as they go side by side through the corner. However, problems arise on the 324, and that would end Jason Casey's night, which would hand the lead over to Robbie Speed. Jason Casey would have right rear tire damage, and that would end his night, and that was all Speed needed as he would pick up win number 1 here in 2014.
It was a tough battle to get to the front. Unfortunately, Jason Casey had a flat and kind of left the door open for me.
Now, on that last restart, what was going through your head?
Oh man, the racing gods were zinging through my head. You know, did I get every bolt? Did I, I felt every vibration, and I was hoping the tires would stay up because those ruts were really rough tonight. It's been 98 since I had a win on opening night, so it's hopefully going to be a good season.
Robbie Speed gets the season started on a high note with a victory. Paul LaRochelle would finish in second, John Ruthier third, Daniel Sanchez fourth, and Ricky Duzlak would round out your top 5. Other winners on the night at Lebanon Valley in the Pierce Stocks, Gary O'Brien, Chris Streeter, and Al Relier would pick up victories. Also in the 4 cylinders, it was Brandon Ely and Todd Goldstein picking up the wins. Sportsman feature would be the nightcap at the Fonda Speedway this past weekend. Is getting it started would be Dan Santa Barbara up on the front of the field in the DiLorenzo Law Firm car number 7, J Machine. So he would lead him up into turn number 1 and 2. He would deal early in the event with heavy pressure from the west end towing car number 79 of Rocky Warner as the Flying Squirrel got on the outside, and flying was what he did as he would head to the race lead in the early going in the event. Couple cars jostling for position. You see the DKM entry, that is Dave Constantino, and then Mark Mortensen you see trying to make his way up through the field as well, along with Cody Clark. Keep an eye on Cody Clark, who would go to the outside of the 7J of Santa Barbara as they made their way to the outside, and now Clark would try to go to work as he tried to run down Rocky Warner. Warner would get into a little bit of a push with a lap car here in the corner, and then you're going to see Cody Clark pop up on the outside, and he would find the momentum, and he would take the race lead with just a couple of laps to go. Clark would make his way back around once again, and Cody Clark would pick up his first career win in the Sportsman division at the Fonda Speedway. Top 5 in the Sportsman would be Cody Clark picking up the win, Rocky Warner finishing second, the Bullfrog, Jeremiah Munson finishing in third, the Flying Onion, Tony Ferrone fourth, and Ricky Quick rounding out the top 5. In the Pro Stocks, it was Pete Broderson picking up the victory. In the Street Stocks and 4 cylinders winners were John Bratt and Ken Hollenbeck, respectively. It's now time to take a look at our weekend battles. We'll start off at Delaware, where H.J. Bunting picked up the win. Matt Jester finished in second, Bo Wilkins third, J.B. Mills fourth, and Brad Trice fifth. At the Bridgeport Speedway, it was Ryan Watt picking up the win, Eric Corman finishing second, Richie Pratt third, Jimmy Horton fourth, and Dom Buffalino rounding out the top 5. At Mercer, it was Kyle Fink, Lonnie Riggs, Sean Flieger, Rich Whitney, and Michaela Guidis rounding out the top 5. At Grandview, there were Twin 20s in Twin 20 number 1, Doug Manmiller picking up the win, Craig Von Doren finishing second, Jordan Umbenhauer finishing third, Jeff Strunk fourth, and Eric Bine rounding out the top 5. In Twin 20 number 2, it was Jeff Strunk picking up the win, Ray Swinehart finishing second, Tommy Sheets third, Kyle Fulweiler finishing fourth, and Frank Cozy rounding out the top 5. And at the ROC Tour in the 5 Mile Point Speedway, Super Matt Shepard picked up the victory, Jimmy Phelps finishing second, Stuart Friesen third, Anthony Perego fourth, and Brian Malcolm rounded out your top 5.
Sayers Auto Wrecking Incorporated is a towing service and an auto salvage yard. We offer 24-hour roadside assistance and damage-free towing. Our wreckers are radio dispatched for your convenience, and we're AAA approved for your peace of mind. On the auto salvage side, we pay top dollar for junk vehicles and sell a wide variety of used auto parts. We also buy scrap metals, including aluminum, copper, steel, and brass. You can learn more about all we do by calling Sayers Auto Wrecking today at 413-358-4374.
The winter's almost over. It's time to go racing. The first ever Atomic Spring Clash at the Mohawk International Raceway. 2 days of action-packed excitement, April 26th and 27th. The Go Nuclear late models run 3 features over the weekend, while fans can walk away with more than $10,000 in giveaways. Also on tap, the DIRTcar Sportsman Tour and the Empire Super Sprints, plus autographs, a party in the pits, and more. Sprints, Sportsman, and late models, all part of the Atomic Spring Clash. See you at Mohawk.
The Choices 301 program takes a multifaceted approach aimed at educating the public about the realities and dangers of what can happen when bad decisions are made inside a motor vehicle. Don't hesitate to designate. If you are a tracker series that would like to be highlighted on Race Pro Weekly, email us at show@raceproweekly.com. During the offseason, Bobby Varen was injured in a skiing accident in New Hampshire, which hindered him and made a lot of people wonder whether he'd be back in the car on opening night. He did step into the Jake's Breakers Used Cars car number 1J and even came up with a top finish.
Bobby, back at the Fonda Speedway. It's been a little while since you've been here. How happy are you to be back?
It feels good. We're really looking forward to running here again, and with all the improvements, place looks fantastic.
Now you certainly had a tough off season. Tell us a little about your injury and what happened.
Well, I was skiing in New Hampshire, family vacation with my parents and my son, and ended up falling on the slopes and broke my neck. I ended up getting hurt pretty good. Got healed up over the last few months, and didn't have to undergo any surgery or anything, but still have a little ways to go. You know, soft tissue damage and some nerve damage, but feeling good right about now.
How difficult was it while you were injured? Did you think there was a possibility you couldn't climb in a race car again?
Well, I didn't. At the time of the injury, I didn't really know how severe it was. That wasn't. I didn't know about that until a couple of weeks later, how severe it really was. So I wasn't too nervous about that to begin with, but I'm fortunate to have my life, and so we're happy about that. We're happy to be here, and adrenaline is the best painkiller you can get, so we're looking forward to getting out there and putting some speed on.
2014, where can your fans watch you race this year?
We're going to be running here at Fonda every week with the Jake's Breaker number 1J, and we'll be running up to Glenridge. We'll be running some select shows with the 00 on the road, and whatever other series races we could pick up. Always looking for a ride, looking for a good time.
You've been doing this a lot of years. You ever think the time's coming where you might have to hang up the helmet?
Well, yeah, that time might be coming, but I don't know. It's too far in my future to worry about it right now. I'm still having fun doing this, and you know, my son's doing it, so we get to race against each other, and we have a good time. So hopefully everything will work out well for us.
If you had one race that you say that got away from you in your career, what would you say that race was?
Well, I think we had a couple of chances to win at Syracuse. Of course, everybody has, you know, for Super Dirt Week. But, you know, there was a couple of those, and then there was a couple of series races, and I don't know, all the races kind of blend in, and a win's a win no matter where you get it. You're the best of the field that day, so it's just great to win, you know, period. So any win that we should have had that we didn't get was the one that slipped away that we should have had, you know, so.
What would you consider a successful 2014 season?
Well, I guess successful depends on your performance. So we're looking for a really good, strong performance. A lot of competition here at Fonda Speedway, you know, we were able to win the championship up to Glenridge last year, so and we were in the double digits for wins. So I think as long as you're winning races and having a good time, I think you're successful.
It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week award, and the winner this week's with his win at the Fonda Speedway, Super Matt Shepard. Shepard is now eligible for the NISCA Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online, www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So for myself, Matt Knowles, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, Dave Del Sandro, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.